Hey everybody, it's Biliah Sega Gamer, and I'd like to say Happy Halloween! Yeah, I'm a little late. I've been pretty busy, trying to get a job and everything. Well, yeah, I hope you guys enjoy your Halloween. Let me just to make sure you guys don't eat a lot of candy and stuff. Even though Halloween's not really my favorite holiday and stuff. This is just a little response video to my good old friend Dual1999. You should check his you should check his YouTube channel. Well, anyway, yeah, I used to like Halloween as a kid. I used to like trick or treating, eating that free candy and stuff. But I just want to do a little. But the one thing I always look forward to are the Halloween specials every single year. Just like Christmas specials, always watch these every single year to see if they hold up to today's standards and stuff. That's what I'm going to do today, of course. Well, I was planning to do a Harem Scarum Billy and Manny video game Let's Play. However, my computer is having a lot of slowdown issues when recording Flash video games off the computer. So maybe next time. Maybe later on today. I'm not even sure. Hey, this may be a little bit late, but better late than never. Here's my top 10 Halloween specials. And for those Halloween specials that didn't make it on the list, here are my recommendations. Bravo Doobie-Doo, the Johnny Bravo Scooby-Doo crossover. Charlie Brown and the Great Pumpkin. Frosted Sugar Frights from Rocko's Modern Life. Ren and Stimpy's Haunted House. Catastrophe from The Mighty Bee. Count Dogula from Cat Dog. Shankhaggle from SpongeBob, and Sid the Vampire Slayer. So here are my top 12 Halloween specials. Number 12, Tiny Toons Night Ghoulery. Now in this Halloween special, we see a glimpse opening to a parody which looks like something out of The Nightmare Before Christmas. However, that's all interrupted once Jack the Pumpkin King once Jack-o'-lantern ends up sawing a Tiny Toons door, and then we end up seeing the Tiny Toons intro. This special is always great for the Tiny Toons series. I remember seeing this as a kid back in the good old days of Kids WB. It was great again to see it on the Vortex last year in October and stuff. Let me get a chance to breathe. And it was a whole lot of fun. The first segment deals with Plucky Duck trying to get rid of Hampton's vacuum, but then it becomes haunted at the end. The second segment is when Snowball ends up eating Little Sneezer, but then Little Sneezer's spirit ends up possessing Snowball and stuff. The third one is when Baz walks into a elk bar and ends up asking for directions. And the last one is when Elmira ends up having a recreation of Frankenstein, and it's Gossamer. But it turns out at the end, Gossamer ends up having Elmira's personality because she used half of her brain. Number 11, a Pinky and the Brain Halloween, Animaniacs Halloween specials. More specifically, Dracula, Parastine, and the Night of the Living Buttons. Now, in the Pinky and the Brain Halloween, Pinky and the Brain are using are using pumpkins to control kids' minds while they're trick or treating. But then after that, Brain gets mad at Pinky and he better sell his soul just to take over the world. However, this guy named Mr. Itch comes over to steal Brain's soul just to take over the world by making a quick deal. But he doesn't accept it, and Pinky ends up taking the deal for him. Then Brain sees the results that he is end up taking in the world, but yet again we end up seeing that side of Brain that we haven't saw before in the whole entire series. Yeah, this special really has nothing to do with trick or treating and stuff, but hey, anything that takes place in hell is Halloween tradition. And as for the Animaniac specials, Dracula and Dracula is about the Warners trying to go to Pennsylvania, but however, they didn't take a right turn of Albuquerque. Yeah, a Warner Bros. Pun, just like Yakko said in the cartoon. And they end up spending the night at Dracula's. Pair of Frankenstein is pretty much a parody of Young Frankenstein, and pretty much the woman version of Dr. Frankenstein is pretty much gonna steal Rita Runt's brain so she could create her pet monsters. And oh yeah, I forgot to mention one more episode. Oh, the Night of the Living Buttons and the Hot Boiling Hell episode. Night of the Living Buttons is when Buttons chases down for Mindy, and then they have to avoid a zombie attack. The most funny part at the end is when they react Thriller. You just gotta see that episode. I'll put a link in the description so you can see it. And the Boiling Hell episodes when the Warners yet again try to travel to Six Flags, but they made a wrong turn to Albuquerque, and then after that they end up messing around with Satan and stuff. My favorite part of this Halloween special is when they end up singing that Purgatory song. I'll put a link in the description so you can see it. Number 10, Disney's Witch Halloween special. W is for Witch. Now in this special we see, of course, Phobos getting free from his prison. Why? Because Will needs Phobos to stop the estimating powers of Nerissa, of course. However, Phobos cannot do this job alone, so he asks that blue troll guy Vedic to free two of his prisoners, Cedric and Miranda. And then why they have to free Phobos? Because they need to protect Napoleon, Cornelius' cat, for they gotta protect Cornelius' cat, because on his collar he has the heart of Earth, because he has the heart of Earth, which Nerissa will steal. And let's just say he fears of Halloween because he says that the Earth spirits will possess, and if Nerissa ends up taking the heart of Earth, she will end up going to the Heatherfield graveyard, take all the spirits, and ends up using their powers. Wow, that's pretty dark. But near the end, Phobos wants to take the power of Earth, but he couldn't because let's just say Will put a decoy of Napoleon. So instead, he just took the heart of Meridian, which was still inside Nerissa. I like this special a lot because well, I don't. The only reason why it's very low on the list because the later witch episodes are pretty much hit and miss. But this special is at least tolerable when I recently seen it again. Recently seen it again, of course. I would recommend watching the uncut version than the YouTube version if you have the DVDs, which I'm still planning to get season 2 on DVD, by the way. So yeah, W's for Witch is a great Halloween special, and and even though it's a tad bit more serious than other Halloween specials, that just means you can't enjoy it. And it's probably the only later witch episode season 2 that's tolerable. Number 9, Scary Godmother and 1 and Scary Godmother 2, The Revenge of Jimmy. Now, even though I'm not really a fan of CGI cartoons, of course, Scary Godmother series I could tolerate, and I watch it time to time on Cartoon Network for nostalgia. So this Halloween is about Hannah Piskin, who was trying to trick or treat all Jimmy's friends with her cousin Jimmy and his friends. However, they say that she doesn't have a cop that's scary enough. So they dare her to go into the haunted house, and to see if she's brave, she will end up getting all the candy. Then she ends up getting scared until this fairy / witch named Godmother comes out, and she ends up meeting all the monsters. However, these monsters are very polite, nice, respectful, and funny, especially Harry. I freaking love Harry, of course. And in the sequel, Scary Mother 2, Jimmy's Revenge, Jimmy's too frightened from the monsters from last Halloween. So what does he do? He ends up trying to trying to make the holiday disappear and stuff. So Jimmy's friends decide to hang out with Hannah instead, and go trick or treating. However, Jimmy ends up labeling the candy as poison, and marking the costumes as flammable. So what they do? They use their old costumes and they add a little twist onto them. And of course, they end up having the Halloween specials and stuff. So yeah, Scary Godmother is probably one of the few kid-friendly Halloween specials I could tolerate. Number 8, Never Fear, Over the Edge, and Perchance the Dream. Now you may be saying, wait, these are not Halloween specials. These are regular episodes of Batman the Animated Series. Well, you may be right, but that doesn't mean the stuff that you fear in your dreams can happen in real life. Well, Never Fear is about an episode is when Scarecrow puts fear gas into Batman, and of course Batman ends up interrogating a lot of witnesses in Gotham City that knows Scarecrow, and Robin got to stop him. And Over the Edge, we end up seeing Batgirl falling off from a cliff. Well, sorry, gotta get my voice. Falling off from the roof, of course. And everything goes hectic from there. Batman has to confess to himself. Robin has to has to put the cape down, and Nightwing, of course, ends up retiring. However, at the end, it ends up being a dream because it was all a stimulation that Batman, aka Bruce Wayne, did to Batgirl. And of course, Perchance to Dream. Perchance to Dream is pretty much like over the edge, but much more convoluted. We end up seeing Bruce Wayne wake up the next day, seeing that his parents were alive. Of course. Sorry, I gotta get my voice. I breathe a little. And he ends up being with his loved one, Selina Kyle. But things don't turn out right when crime ends up turning around the city. However, they realize that there is another person who is imitating Batman. However, at the end, we end up seeing the Mad Hatter, and he ends up using his dream machine to let's say knock out Batman so he could take crimes over Gotham City. Hey, not saying that we all can have pleasant dreams. At least we have a protector that'll protect us. Or maybe. But yeah, the three most disturbing Batman the anime series episodes are on the list. Number 7, Halloween, the movie. What do I have to say? It's thinking Halloween. Now you may be wondering, what the fuck, man? This isn't a Halloween special. Well, a lot of people like to watch this movie on the day that we celebrate the Land of the Dead, which of course we date for this movie to have our own mascot, Michael Myers. So this movie is about a crazy, convoluted guy named Michael Myers, and he ends up stalking Laurie Schroeder and ends up killing innocent victims just because he feels like it and stuff, and because of his tormented childhood. This movie is suspense, creepy, and it's a fun slasher movie to watch. I watch this movie every year. The first, Michael Myers end up becoming our Halloween mascot. And this is the reason why we watch every Halloween movie. Well, except for the third one. But it didn't have nothing to do with him. Piece of shit! Number 6. Nightmare on Wilson Way. Now in this Halloween special, we end up seeing Beauregard Kikuzu tying up Mac because he cannot eat sugar throughout Halloween, of course. So Mac ends up staying in Blue's, Coco's, Eduardo, and Wilt's room for the day while the rest of the imaginary friends ends up going trick-or-treating. However, Blue tries to pull a trick on everybody in the house, and they don't fall for it. Well, except for Mr. Harriman, he passes out, and Blue thinks he's dead, and and Mr. Harriman acts like a zombie. Blue tries to warn everybody in the house, but they all end up acting like zombies until Blue has to resort of putting candy. Until Blue has to resort of putting candy, of course, in. Yeah, Blue has to resort of putting candy, of course, in Mac's body, so that way the sugar-inducing rush sensation that Mac has could beat up all the imaginary friends who imaginary house members who were acting like zombies, and all at the end it ended up being a trick. However, there's one problem. Mac ate candy, and he's going around acting crazy for it. I really like this Halloween special. I think it's better than the second one. Boo! Yeah, it's better than the Boo episode. And I always watch it from time to time. And I always like this special since near the end of my childhood. Number 5, Camp Lazlo Halloweenies. Now in this special, we end up seeing all the scouts going home on the day before Halloween, of course. Well, except for Lazlo, Raj, and Clam. They don't want to go home. They don't want to go home on the day that Halloween start because they don't want to miss out on the fun of trick-or-treating and getting candy. So when they do, they end up staying around around Camp Kidney, and they rather trick-or-treat in Prickly Pines. Yeah, right. But then after that, we see Scoutmaster Lumpus, of course, singing his butt off these scouts are away, yay! I could finally relax and do whatever I fucking want. So yeah, I really do like this Halloween special. I like the running gag every time. Most cartoons with that type of running gag don't make me laugh. Well, except for Camp Lazlo special when they end up knocking on Scoutmaster Lumpus's door and they say trick or treat, and it was so funny seeing the facial expressions that Scoutmaster Lumpus ends up having to go through. Number 4, Billy and Manny's Jacked Up Halloween. Now in this special, we end up seeing Billy and Manny going trick-or-treating, but Billy asks, why do we do tricks on Halloween, of course? Grim tells a story about Jack, about this guy named Jack, and he always does tricks every October, especially on the last day of October 31st. But then Billy doesn't believe the story, and it was so funny that Billy said, "Oh, I have to believe that Jack the evil Pumpkinhead is gonna come out and revenge us of all his tricks." But sooner or later, we turn out that Billy ends up meeting Jack-o'-lantern, and he doesn't recognize his face, even though Grim told you that even though he cut off his head to make a deal for eternal life, he uses a head as a pumpkin. So pretty much Billy teams up with Jack-o'-lantern, and he ends up trying to make Halloween night forever and possesses the souls in the pumpkins. What I like about this Halloween special is that it's very funny. It's very funny, creative. Of course, I like that running gag at the end where Erwin ends up falling for all the tricks except for Jack. And the one that steals the show is Jack-o'-lantern. Why? Because he's one of my favorite Billy and Manny villains. And 2, he is voiced by Sherlyn Dwight. He's voiced by Wayne Dwight. Yeah, the same. Yeah, it's basically Seinfeld's Newman. Number 3, Ed, Edd n Eddy's Boo Ha 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 Ha. Now in this Halloween special, we end up seeing the Eds coming home from detention, I guess because they got bored in class, whatever. And Eddie wants to go, of course, wants to go to this place called Spookyville, which is right past the cul-de-sac, so he could get all the candy and stuff. But however, Ed ends up, of course, watching too many horror films before going out trick-or-treating and stuff. And, of course, he sees all the neighborhood kids as monsters, and he beats the crap out of them. This Halloween, unlike any other Halloween special that ends up becoming bland and uninteresting, this Halloween special can be sometimes scary, but it could be freaking hilarious, especially at the end. You have to see the end, and it could be hilarious, of course. It could be entertaining, and I just loved it since the day I watched it on Cartoon Network's Cartoons Friday's last and only good Halloween special back in 2003. Number 2, Regular Show's Fright Pack. Now I enjoy the regular show. Now, regular shows like one of my favorite TV shows. So for a Halloween special about the surreal show, it absolutely worked, of course. Now in the first special, we see Rigby drawing eggs at some wizard's house, and he ends up becoming a house. The second special is about the gang telling scary stories in this huge ass traffic. In the huge ass traffic they have to go by. Sorry, I don't want to talk too fast. In the huge ass traffic they gotta go by, and one story is about Mordecai, Rigby, and Margaret going out to some guy's birthday party, but then instead of taking the city bus, they end up taking the party bus, and then they make them old. But I absolutely love the third special. The third special is a combination between the first two. Basically, the third one is about Mordecai and Rigby and Muscle Man Hi-Fi Ghost smashing pumpkins. But after that, they got their souls possessed. And I absolutely love the last one when Benson tells the story about how the whole park and the house is haunted by this, I forgot what's the name's guy again. I should have done my research. By this one who survived off the Civil War. And why? Because he was way ahead of its time, and he ends up using these 90s phrase like it's so tubular, mondo, and groovy. What I like about these Halloween specials is because, for one, it's a tribute to one of my all-time favorite Halloween specials, The Simpsons Treehouse of Horror. And I wonder why J.G. Quintal got the inspiration from. And plus, it's probably the only time where regular show runs on a 30-minute time slot. And my number one favorite Halloween special is The Simpsons Treehouse of Horror. Yeah, I can't decide which Simpsons Treehouse of Horror I like. Basically, I like all of them. Besides the first season, I freaking love all the Treehouse of Horrors. But you're gonna probably say, but they're based off movies now. Who cares? The Treehouse of Horrors are probably the only time in The Simpsons that 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 we get to see something new and different besides the formulatic, of course, moral driven plot. Basically, they just go on their misadventures, and it relates to Halloween and relates to the Halloween theme. My favorite is when is the evil Homer episode, of course, and the Homer clones. So yeah, those are my top 12 Halloween specials. Well, even though it's sort of late, I like to say happy Halloween to everybody. I may do my hair scare 'em let's play maybe later on tonight. And of course, and I want to know, what are you guys' favorite Halloween specials? Put it in the comments.